years have got behind you. No one told you when to
Got no one to blame but yourself, 'cause I was
the starting.
the tick-a-tick-a-tock. Look at the clock. Got to move it on the dot, don't you look back, because the time is the time is the master. The time could be a disaster. Yeah, you know. Got no time to play. The time is the master. And time is the master. Yeah. 'Cause you can't change the hands of time. And you could never turn back hands of time. Got no time to play. Got to get on the go. We gotta move it around. We went out to the center, but got no time to delay. Went out to the say, the time is the master. Tick-a-tick-a-tock. Move it on the dot and don't you look back until you could dash. Serious time, this a terrible time. 'Cause some may say, 'cause this a serious time. Yeah, you know. Got to know what you do in this time. Is that what you're saying? Got no time to play, got no time to delay. Went out to the say, tick-a-tick-a-tick-a-tock. Move it on the dot and say you could have never stop. Got no time to play and say no time to delay. Move it right away and never till you come and say, 'cause this time is the master. Time is the master. Time can be a disaster. Yeah, you know. So you gotta move it on the go and do this till the link. Keep it coming to my doors and look over some more when I tell them I'm sound. It'll be on the come on, some of this video when I go see when I tell you say, wow.
You run and you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking and racing around to come up behind you again. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older. You're shorter of breath and one day closer to death. Every year is getting shorter, never seem to find the time. Plans that either come to naught or half a page of scribbled line. Hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way. The time is gone, the song is over, or not something more to say.
Smoke.
And we are recording. What's up, everybody? Welcome to West Coast Wednesdays. That's when this is going to air. This is the first pre-recorded episode, so I hope that my computer holds up and everything goes well. But yeah, I want to first of all say what's up to Dammit. Welcome aboard, Dammit. Glad to have you here.
Up? All right,
And of course, to our guest, Curated Cannabis, the first guest. So thank you guys for letting me stumble through this. I appreciate it. But we'll get through it together. But I really wanted to have you guys on basically to just talk about your guys' process. You're really unique, I feel like, in a lot of the things you do. So I just wanted to basically chat about it and go from there. So yeah, I'll let you kind of, let's get a little background, I guess. You guys can introduce yourselves and just give us your spiel, you know.
Okay.
How did Curated Cannabis come to be?
So my name is Will. This is Christian, and we're the co-founders of Curated Cannabis. And we started back in 2017, and we had just like mutual friends who knew that we both separately worked in the cannabis industry. They kind of put us in touch, and we started working together ever since. So we got our start in like the E-sesh game, top shelf. Top shelf Thursdays.
Shout out to Mean Green and Turp Market.
Yeah, does that sound familiar to you, Dammit?
Yeah, you damn right it does. Damn right it does. Yes, indeed. And I wanted to say, you know, this is great for me because like this is where I met these guys at. They always had, you know, a unique and like in-depth look at the buds that they were growing. I wanted to like learn more, and they were always like a wealth of knowledge, not only in the cannabis that they were growing, they were knowledgeable on the process at which they were elevating, the level of terps that they were producing. Like, yo, man, look at this bud, man. Like, you don't even see this type of shit right here. Hey, I would be able to tell people just like popping that top right now. Boom. Yeah. Look, see, I'd be able to show this to somebody, man, all over the world, and they'd be like, wow, that is some high time shit right there.
Yeah, it is really eye popping when you pull it out for the first time, and it is because I don't know, I guess we're used to seeing a variety of bud these days, but it's just like there is something uniquely beautiful about this live cured cannabis. So I mean, how did you guys come across that particular method, and how did you get into that? Because that is fairly unique. Like, what was did you have a eureka moment where you're like, this is the direction we need to go, or how did you come about it?
I think it was like a confluence of a couple different things. I think that it was something that like I had been talking about, just like trying different ways of process, like drying and curing the flower.
Harvesting, drying and curing.
Yeah, and I think it was because we like the real reason we actually started doing it is because like we basically ran low on inventory and just needed a way to process the flower. But running through like the background of all that is just like growing the flower and then seeing it in a jar. It just looks so different from when we harvest it to what product you actually pop open when you open one of those jars. And it was always disappointing when you saw something up in like Instagram or High Times back in the day. You saw these big, beautiful colas, and then when you open up your jar, it doesn't look anything like the pictures represent. And when we were cultivating together, and when we harvested the flower, it just looked so beautiful, but over the drying and curing process, it just everything just kind of shrunk down and just lost a bit of that color, lost a bit of that shape. And it just doesn't pop the same way that it did when we cut it down.
So you were looking for something because you kind of felt a disappointment. Is that, fair enough to say that, like, when you saw the live herb and you were just like, wow, this stuff is beautiful, it looks great. And then you went through the traditional curing method and then you came out on the other side and you were just kind of like, what happened?
I don't think it was necessarily disappointment because the flowers still look fucking killer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But no, I get what he's saying.
It wasn't the same.
I get what he's saying. It's just not the same. It's like when you're growing, which I've been on that side with a dirty green thumb, and I say that because I'm not nowhere near a professional like these guys right here, man. But when I see that right before we chop down and how beautiful these nugs look, how beautiful this plant looks, and I'm like, yo, man, I hope it looks like this on the other end of the drying and curing process. And that's something that is. It doesn't happen. You lose the water weight. That's one thing. We're not even talking about that. That's the weight of it. We're thinking like, yo, these nuggets are going to be real healthy and chunky and heavy, and it's going to weigh out to like a whole pound for this one plant. That's what we're thinking, but then of course you come on the other side of that shit. It's like a QP or something like that,
Yeah.
Right.
So you lose all of that water weight, but along with that is the size of these nugs that were looking so fucking healthy. Excuse me. They're looking beautiful, amazing. Mary Jane has just like left, this blessing in your hand of whatever you've done. And then that curing process, which is so fucking important. It tells you whether you done fucked up or you done made gold right here. Right. Because like, if you don't cure this shit right, I mean, this is at the finish line. If you fucking fumble at the fucking, like the 2-yard line, oh my god, it's the worst, bro. It's the worst.
No, I totally agree with that. And it's not just like the appearance; it's also like the smell, like the range of the smell, and like the difference between our flower and live flower versus traditionally cured flower is just like the spectrum of the smell. I compare it to cooking with fresh herbs versus dried herbs, where dried herbs can have like a very strong smell, but to me, they're more like monotone. They're more homogeneous. They're like one note. Whereas like fresh herbs, not one particular smell is going to pop, but it has just such a bright, full spectrum.
Right, it's
like
different.
aroma and taste. The same thing with the flower. There's a lot of like detail that I feel is lost when you go through the traditional drying process, and that's to be expected because it leaves the flower exposed to heat, oxygen, UV light, just to kind of let the water evaporate from the flower. Our approach is just that there's got to be a better way to remove the moisture from the flower and preserve the aroma appearance so that like when we harvest the flower, that's the most amount of time that we actually spend handling the flower. It's also when the flower is done and ready to sell. When we're hand trimming that stuff, it's like you can take up every single step in the process, add it all up, the cloning, transplanting from rooting to veg to flower, all the time it takes pruning the leaves away during flower. Add all that time up, it is not as much time as it takes to hand trim that flower. So like that smell is just, it's burned into our clothes, it's burned into our nostrils. That's what we remember the plant as being. So when we go to package it, we want the consumer experience to reflect like where we spent our time when we said the flower is done and ready for consumption. So that's what we're trying to preserve. Like we have a couple of like hot takes on what good flower is. Everyone says that they have the best, but just to let everyone know how we judge ourselves is just that as kind of like the processor, we want to preserve the flower as much as possible by doing as little as possible. So our flower is recognizable as flower, and that's what makes it stand out.
I mean, for one point, a discussion that we've had before too is about trikes. I mean, like you can look at, talking about fumbling at the finish line, if you're in the trim process, you're using these machine trimmers, they're destroying the trikes, right? Like, and so you guys really do, there's a few brands I would say on the market that have, preserved their trikes where they look, I don't know if it's as if they are on the plant, but they look preserved. I mean, you can actually see them when you look at them under a microscope, or you really zoom in on your cell phone, and you can see the stalks, you can see the heads, but then you see what I like to call the bird spike trikes, which is just kind of like these headless stalks, I think, and it doesn't mean that the herb doesn't smack necessarily, but there is something lost, and there is something beautiful about that preservation, so that's something I really like about your guys' flowers, when it's easy to see from, I mean, even using just this, Pixel 3, it's an outdated phone even by today's standards, but you can zoom in and it only zooms in 3 times with the video, but you can see the definition of those trikes, and you can see the beauty of the flower. Really, it really does pop, and I really do like the, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you going to
No, I was going to add to it what you were saying and what Chris and my guy was saying, Will was saying. Listen, when you guys are trying to limit the amount of handling to it after you guys have trimmed it, what you're also talking about is that I'm not adding to it, I'm not taking away from it. And in the traditional way of drying and curing, we're talking about 10 days that, someone would have to keep it at a certain temperature, hanging, at upside down in a light. And this is that process that traditionally most people are going to have to go through. Just moving all of those plants in there, you're losing terps. You know what I mean? You chop them down. Trimming the leaves off, you're losing more terps, so there's so much loss. And what you guys are trying to get to is the elimination of the loss of terps right now. And I love that, man. Look at this. This looks like you guys, you just grew this yesterday. I can smoke this, and you guys just grew this yesterday, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
it's very
that's the idea.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful, and it does set you guys apart, because it's like, you can pick any brand you want, I would say, on the market, and respected brands or whatever. And if they're traditionally curing, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to take it away from you guys. Maybe it's just the selection of the flower, but it's like every single jar that I've opened of your guys' stuff, it's just like it's eye popping. It is beautiful flower where it's like there isn't any other brand. I mean, hesitant to say maybe Fig Farms, because Fig Farms, every time you open one of their jars, it's just like, damn, that shit is beautiful, you know. But it's like outside of that, it's like it's really hit or miss as far as that goes. You know, it's like some stuff looks awesome, it looks really pristine. Other stuff, it just looks like, oh, it got ran through the ringer. I mean, one brand in particular. Not to throw anybody under the bus, but the mints, the mints, like, you know, it came out with the soap, you know, that was just an awful representation of that plant. I feel like, you know, it was just destroyed in the machine trim. Maybe it was just bulbous. I don't know what happened. I'm not a grower, and so I can't comment to that, you know, but I just see the end product, you know, and it wasn't satisfactory in that respect. But Jealousy on the other side was awesome. Now, I didn't pay attention to who actually grew the soap, what operation, but Cannabis is who grew that Jealousy, so props to them. They came out awesome, you know. But yeah, it's just like it's crazy that there's this inconsistency, I feel like, especially on the consumer end, because we're not even paying attention necessarily to where that flower is coming from. If it's just a big brand like Cookies or whoever, you know, we see this vast inconsistency, and that's something I don't see from you guys. It's just like you guys are very consistent as far as the look and the smell. Everything is like A+ on point.
It's like when you look at the menu at McDonald's and you see the quarter pounder with cheese.
Yeah.
That's what the fuck I'm getting. I don't want that sloppy stuff, man. I want this one.
Right. Yeah, it is beautiful in that respect, because you'll see that on a page. I'm sure that's you know what you guys have commented on before. You'll see something on some brand's page and you'll go, wow, that's a beautiful flower. Then you go buy it in the store and you come out with something that just looks like trash, you know. So that sucks. So props to you guys on that.
Or not even just trash. Not even just trash. It just doesn't look like what was advertised. And you guys are, I mean, selling it just like what it was advertised as. And that looks like it's going to smell amazing. Like everything. Yeah. What is that? Which one is this?
Peanut butter breath. Yeah.
Oh,
and it does smell. It does have. To me, it does smell like that NorCal Nemo butter pecan. It has the echoes of that for me. It's got that like sweet, creamy nuttiness to it. So that's what I really pick up on it. And I really like it. It smells great. You know.
Well, let's get into that breakdown, man. Because
no, that's why we like the work that you do. That's why we appreciate the work that you do. Is like we get to like hear someone's perspective about the flower. And as a consumer, like the brands, if I'm sitting as a consumer, like those brands need to be consistent. We're like in the world of prepackaged flower, and that gone are the days where you can have a big jar and you can just select the buds that you want. But I can guarantee you, no one was choosing like the shake out of the bottom of those jars. Like if we're going to sell prepackaged flour and then sell it at look, it's expensive. We're asking people like at the retail level to buy our flour at like $65 an eighth, and like it needs to be consistent. Like every single time a bud tender shows our flour to one of the customers, like we want that bud tender to know that 10 times out of 10 it's going to melt someone's fucking face off. And like you can get it right 1,000 times, like, but you only really get it wrong once. So it shouldn't be like top shelf flour shouldn't be a lottery ticket. Like that shouldn't be a gamble.
Right.
Like, it should be as close to a guarantee as possible. So like, you know, as you mentioned, the mints, like just having something that's inconsistent like that, like I don't, as a consumer, I'd be furious. Like any other consumer packaged good, you want it to be as advertised and as consistent as possible.
Yeah.
Right. I think, well, the thing that your average consumer is unaware of currently is that there's a mass amount of white labeling going on in the market. You know, so you know somebody like may walk into a shop, they might see I just keep calling out brands, so I'm just going to say brand X, you know, and they'll see brand X in there and they'll have a good experience. I have so many names to name, you know, but no, I mean
the names have been changed to protect the greedy, I would say.
Maybe, yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, I will say that Will is the one who turned me on to the game that is Smalls, you know, and how atrocious the markup is and that, you know, and I don't mind paying, you know, a certain amount for Smalls because I'll roll them up. I don't care. You know, I think Smalls have a place, you know, but I also don't think that they should be sold at such a high amount. Yeah, because it's like when you're, and it's like, I understand there's a fine line as a producer and you're you know, when you're pushing out something and you're going, okay, we need to make X amount of money per pound, I guess, on this stuff, you know, so we have a
Right.
goal to hit. But it's like, as you know, coming from this side of things, it's like when I'm seeing like, you know, just these little bits and they're being sold at like a rate that's maybe only $10 less than it would cost me if I got an eighth of that stuff. It seems like I'm being really ripped off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't
So
broken down that bad.
You are being
man.
ripped
That's-
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are.
Like, the wholesale market, the smalls sell for about like a third of the price as A buds.
Right.
So like we are on a bunch of distribution lists for like bulk flower pricing. Like granted, we don't trade in traditionally dried flower, but we're still on these like email distribution lists. And like the wholesale price on B buds or smalls is 1/3 of that of like A buds. And they're not passing that third on to you, the consumer. They're charging like 80% or like 75% of what A buds cost them. So they're making this huge profit on
markup
on those small buds. And like, you can like, I respectfully disagree with the fact that, okay, it's the same, because it's not. When you see the buds growing, that stuff on the bottom below the canopy that's far away from the light, that's not as well developed as the stuff that is on top. And you make your harvesting decisions as like a cultivator based on the tops of the flower, just because it composes most of the mass of the harvest. Like you're not, a farmer is not making their decision based on kind of how the smalls are looking. They're not letting the tail wag the dog there. Like the smalls are just along for the ride. So whether they're developed or not, when it's time to chop the room, they're coming down too. So like those smalls, it's a greatest mind trick that, like, you know, the street dealers used to play on the consumer market, because people still think it's the same, and like no, it's just not.
It just a point on that, the tops of the plant, which everyone is going to base their harvest on, is where they're going to look at those trichomes and say, under a microfiling glass, and say, look, these guys are done. I can't cook these anymore. If I cook these anymore, they're going to taste like trash. Okay. It's going to fuck it all up. Garden gone. So I got to chop this. That means that all of those underdeveloped little baby nugs down at the bottom that they're filling those smalls bags up with are almost like, you know, I could just give those to people as like here, but it ain't going to get you as high or have the taste or the terps like this stuff at the top. This is the premium. So why would I try to even sell this as anywhere near those top terps right there? That's what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen.
So here's my question though, because it doesn't just go top cola to smalls. Like, I mean, it goes down the plant, you know what I mean? So it's like, so if a brand, let's say, is selling smalls, you know, like, and they have, let's say, the strain in regular and then smalls, it's like a lot of times I'll see things that are just slightly above smalls, you know, in those jars that are being sold as regulars, I guess, for lack of a better term, you know. So it's just like, as a consumer, I still feel like there's a great deal of those things that are on the smaller end that are getting out there in jars on the regular, and people are just paying the normal ticket for them, you know. So it's like, where do the smalls start, I guess, or where do they end? You know what I mean? Versus like the regular buds, because you guys handle a lot of herbs yourself.
It has
you know,
a lot to do with the consistency of the cultivator too.
Like, you know, we see some, like, the better of a pruning job the cultivator does, like the more A buds that you're going to get throughout the entire harvest. But that's why we specify the number of buds per eighth, to kind of give people an indication about kind of what to expect within this jar. Because like, we're not breaking down nugs to make an eighth. We're actually weighing up each individual bud. Each bud that goes into one of our jars has been weighed out individually once. And then like from there, we sort it and then basically just do math to come up with an eighth. So like the eighth is meant to be, not like we're breaking down fragments of a bud in the hopes that it lands at 3.5 grams. Like, we want to preserve the flower, so that means not breaking down the buds and just leaving this like stub of a bud kind of like in someone's jar. Like, if you just do the work, you can just, I mean, it's not hard to add up to 3.5 grams. Like, it's just,
so this is really unique. I think I don't think I haven't been to a lot of operations, so I can't speak to that. But I would say that what you guys do in that respect is really unique. So imagine this, Dammit. Like, I don't know if you've seen it before, but they have a room, a big old room, and there's huge tables, and they've got these plastic cups where they've weighed each individual bud, and they put the actual amount of weight of that bud on that little cup. So then that way they can mix and match buds, like, and make it really incredible, dude. I mean, I was in there and I was just like, wow,
I saw pictures of it and I was like, wow, this is dedication, man. And that's only because like he said, it's the limit, the amount that we need to touch these buds, breaking them apart, taking terps off of it, knocking that off. That all of that is what's going to add to the customer experience.
Yeah, there's no way you can say that's making the flower better.
Yeah,
it's like making it worse. And the question is like, how much are you willing to accept? But there's no way you can say that breaking down the flower is going to make it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's also like you're talking about, this is a more efficient way of handling this stuff, because you are only touching it the once, basically, and you're minimizing the handling of the herb, and you're able to just do some quick math basically to throw together the perfect eighth, right? Like, I mean,
that ain't hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, great stuff. That another thing to give you guys props on, a very unique and an awesome way to process things, So, but yeah, I mean, I don't. We could wax forever about this. I don't know if you guys have any points or questions you maybe have, Dammit, or you get points you guys.
Well, yeah, like I said, I've always enjoyed curated cannabis. For what is it? 3-4 years now, guys, that I've been fucking with you guys. And man, I really want to shout you guys out for doing the damn thing. You guys have been consistent. Like I said, I mean, every time I order something off of that menu, it was exactly what it was, and I've always said, like, yo, which way are you guys gonna go as far as like the plant? Right now you guys are on peanut butter breath. Do you guys have a method at which you guys flow towards your plant, the cuts that you're going to make?
In terms of the Pharaoh calendar, so we, just to be clear, we do not cultivate at our facility in-house.
Yeah.
So like we work with affiliated cultivators who are basically like friends of ours, and it makes a lot of sense for them to do cultivation and then for us to do all of the post-harvest work. So like, the way it actually went down is that we just got back from Oakland, spending 4 days up in Oakland doing a big harvest. So the cultivator lets us know when the harvest window opens, and then we bring our team on site combined with their trim team to basically go through and harvest the flower, do a wet hand trim with it, and then just begin the process of drying and curing it. So like we take a look at what is up available for harvest, and then just select the best from what is available. And now with some of our longer standing cultivators, we have some influence over what it is that they're growing, so long as it kind of meets their own internal like specifications.
Right.
But part of the fun is just that like we're soliciting input from cultivators who know that who have an opinion about what the good flower is out there. For us, like we have certain attributes that we look for, but we also like having, we also like showing off a different version of some like popular flower. So we're typically going to go with something that other people have had experience with. So like peanut butter breath. A lot of people have peanut butter breath out there. But they haven't had kind of our version of the peanut butter breath.
Yeah. I think that's the good thing is like, yo, I see a lot of people with this peanut butter breath or even Butterfingers and stuff like that. It's a pretty popular cut, and I do see it, and it's good to see like your rendition of it. This is the great song, and I like to see it.
And it's like it's a way to kind of like participate in the broader like cannabis community, because you can say, hey, this is one version of it, this is another version of it. I've mentioned it to Richard before, but I love when he does the back-to-back reviews. So like the Mac back-to-back, Jacks back to back.
It's like comparatively speaking, is exactly that, and I love that, man.
Yeah,
right. And I do like that analogy of a cover song, basically. So it's like this is your version of or your take on these things. So yeah, I mean that's really cool to think about it that way. It is like that. I mean, it's sometimes it is hard to differentiate between the same strain from different growers. I mean, especially if they're on their game, and they're really taking it to the limit, but I mean, it's really hard or really easy, I guess, to see when somebody fucks up, because it's like, oh man, this looks awful, especially if you've had experience with that. I feel like the first time I came across blue Skittles, for example, like I never had seen Skittles before. I didn't know what I was to expect, but it looked just like some nasty outdoors. So I was just like, all right, I'm pretty sure this isn't like the prime example of what blue Skittles is. But it's like, yeah, if you guys pumped out some blue Skittles, I'd be like, okay, I'm on board. I want to check this out because I know that this is probably going to be like the note perfect version, you know what I mean, of it. So it's like the mathematically correct version of this.
Call it true
what
to
it
form.
might be. Yeah, true to form. There you go.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like, yo, if someone off the streets like sings a Luther Vandross song versus Luther Vandross singing a song, or someone that I really trust singing a Luther Vandross song, man, I'm gonna go with Curated Cannabis to sing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
man, y'all got the soul of the plant right here, man, and I like that, man.
So what are some hits that you guys have out right now? I know that you have the Peanut Butter Breath. It's out there, and I know if you got some Blackjack coming down the line. Is that out and about yet?
Blackjack has dropped.
Yeah.
So,
and what about you guys? What are your personal favorites that are out there right now that if anybody happens to be watching this, that they could go out to a store and find?
No cap. Blackjack is the number one. It unseated Mimosa for me.
Oh, okay, great.
And that it's I love Jacks. I love sativas, and
Jack, man.
the Blackjack. It's just got this see if you can see this. But it's just got this like really beautiful like morning star kind of like look to it. Where it's just crazy. And that nose, like the thing about Jacks is that like once you open it and it has that Jack smell, it's by definition it's a Jack. So like Blackjack is my favorite, but Christian.
I'd say like at the moment it's the PBB, the Peanut Butter Breath.
Okay.
You
can go all time if you want. We won't restrict you to the moment. I just was if you would.
I mean, if we're like
okay.
No. I mean, no. I did want to know right now, but I'm saying if you guys want to go for all time favorites too, feel free. Yeah.
I mean, I really dig the Wedding Pie.
Yeah.
Wedding
okay.
Pie,
Yeah, I'm just gonna swing back around again.
Swinging back to my old days. I think they had some purple, something. What was it? It was either Purple Punch or something.
Ayahuasca purple.
Ayahuasca purple.
Yes, there it is.
We had the flow. DJ Short's flow.
No, the flow was good. I always got with the flow for myself, but the ayahuasca, man, both of those cuts. God, I almost forgot about flow, man. Flow was like my go-to because I was like, yo, I want something heavy. It's gonna hit me. Yep. Yo, man, hey, check this out. This flow, yo, every time. And that was my introductory to, Curated Cannabis, man, flow and the ayahuasca, which was, man, so purple, so beautiful. When you look at the perps that were on that, man, oh my God. It's like you're looking at this just when they show you those beautiful grows that are indoors and you see the plant and all the trichomes that are on that and the lights hitting it. And this is what you have in your jar.
Yeah.
And that's so
what you should be taking home.
Yeah, you've been doing it wrong if you can get something else. Like, I don't know.
You could get something else. You can. I mean, but this is, again, as you said, man, this is the best representation of that plant that you can get is from Curated Cannabis. And I love
your guys' covers are awesome. Yeah. People should subscribe to your discography, if they can.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, awesome. So yeah, great to see. I mean, Will, did you have an all-time favorite you wanted to pimp to? I know you were thinking.
Hawaii Maui Wowie. I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
If we could select anything to be grown, Hawaii Maui Wowie is like
Maui motherfucking Wowie.
Yeah, it's when I started growing, it's the first cultivar that I grew where I was like, oh my God, there's a big difference here.
Yeah.
I discovered like a big difference in like how the plant grew, how the plant smelled, how it tasted. And then just from like a personal perspective, it also kept the lights on our operation for a while. Like that one was one that was basically paying the bills. So I have like a really strong attachment to it. I think is it still a Chem Dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By far my favorite cultivar is Chem Dog.
Really, yeah.
And
Classics, you guys. Those are some classics.
Classic hits.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, awesome, dudes. I think we'll call it here. I mean, we got about a half hour, so this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys. So check with Curated Cannabis. How many underscores are there? I always kind of miss that.
I know it's Curated underscore Cannabis.
Instagram shuts it down again.
Yeah.
Wait. So it's Curated underscore cannabis. And then two after that, or is it just one?
One after
just
that.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Just one. So yeah, just remember there's after every word there's an underscore.
There's
At
an
Curated underscore cannabis underscore. Well, great.
Oh.
Thanks for coming on, guys. It's been awesome. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon. I don't know about Dammit. He should come down.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely
You can come down, man.
Yeah, I was like, I'll invite him to your facility. Yeah, come on.
I've been bullshitting, but I know more. I'm on the way, man. Yeah, shout out to you guys.
For you guys too. So
Man, on the way. Say no
there it
more.
is. Yeah, he's on the way. He'll be in the car in a minute. Yeah.
I gotta put my clothes on, man, my flip flops, but I'm on the way.
All right, cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for everybody watching too. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for Pharaoh for putting together whatever magic he's done at this point to make it happen and get it out there on Wednesdays. And tune in next time and check out all the cool stuff happening on the 420 E-sesh. And thanks for being my co-pilot here, Dammit. I really appreciate it, man.
No problem. Man.
So peace out, smoke heavy, y'all.